Hey guys, what's going on? Kulprit here, and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about some Battlefield 3. We're going to talk about some endgame, but first I do want to apologize a little bit for my voice. I'm congested again, stuffy, head cold. It's never ending this winter. I think you guys are probably more used to this voice than you are my normal voice, but that's neither here nor there, and we're going to power on and we're going to get this done. Today, like I said, I want to talk about Battlefield 3 endgame, and more specifically, one of my favorite parts of Battlefield 3. Now, looking back over, a year and a half now, one of the things I continue to enjoy the most about Battlefield 3 is always having to learn, always having to, basically evolve my playstyle, evolve my tactics, and adapt. And we can look back and we can look at, obviously, the vanilla game was fine and you were just kind of figuring it out, and then they patched it. If you remember, they did the big recoil patch where, gunplay changed pretty dramatically. I welcomed it. I thought it was much better. I felt the gunplay initially at launch was too easy. It was easy mode. It was more like Call of Duty. The guns were kind of lasers and things, and when they did the recoil patch, they made it more like Bad Company 2, which I enjoyed. I thought it was more difficult, even though I had frustrations with it, and it probably made me a worse player. As far as gun skills and accuracy, I felt like it made me a better player overall because I was the type of person that was willing to put the time in to learn it and get better, and you couldn't just pick up a casual, a player couldn't just pick up a gun and beast with it. Then, of course, we had suppression and things like this that, have forced you to adapt and change your game and improvise your tactics and things. And then we can look at the DLCs, obviously, close quarters. They made you, clearly change your normal playing style. Armored Kill did the same. And then, obviously, Karkin and Aftermath are relatively similar. But, where, like, Karkin and Aftermath, there's vehicles in there and there's infantry, but the vehicles are more of a support role. So, and that's the part I enjoy is kind of, pushing my boundaries a little bit, changing my thinking, trying to figure out, getting at the root of it and figure out what's the best way to play this. And a lot of people these days seem to be just lazy, and they don't want to do this. And that's what kind of drives me nuts about players. And obviously the phrase that always goes around is, you can patch your game, but you can't patch your player base. And it's very true. One of the worst parts about first-person shooters, especially, I'm not just going to heap this on Battlefield, is the players, frankly. And sometimes I'm included in that group. I'm a bit of a whiner these days. It's because I want more, though. But with that said, I'm not afraid to put in the time, and it's rough for me because I'm not the type of guy that just picks up a gun and is good. Like, my game is not, I'm not a natural at these games at all. I have to put in work, and I have to continually work. If I stop playing for a week, I come back and I'm damn near a noob again. My situational awareness and my thinking and things like that might be fine. Because I think by playing other games I become a better gamer, but as far as twitch skills and gun accuracy, it's terrible. I mean, and I'm ridiculous because I'm constantly changing hardware and things, but I don't help the issue. But basically what I want to talk about today in that long-winded conceptual introduction is endgame. And gripes aside, I have quite a few of them with endgame directed towards DICE, but it is what it is. Take it or leave it. I don't see it being patched. I don't see it being balanced or changed. I don't see it being touched anymore, frankly. What are we going to do with endgame? So you're forced to adapt. You have to change the way you think. And one of the most I'm going to talk about two things that are fairly obvious today, and then as I continue to play more, I'm going to bring you back any nuggets of wisdom I may have for you guys. Which the first nugget of wisdom is just be a better player than I am, because I am struggling right now, honestly. But that has to do with not knowing where I'm going and having really poor situational awareness, and I have no anticipation at all. Which you start to realize how important map knowledge and specifically anticipation is. Knowing where you're probably going to get in a gunfight. And I did a video, Anticipate to Dominate, and it still holds very true to this point. But what I want to talk about today is two little tactics that I don't see people using enough. I'm hoping that eventually it'll evolve, and some of the smarter players obviously use it, and that's smoke. Smoke is the biggest thing I could tell you in endgame rush by far. Smoke, I am a big proponent of the med kit. I think it's one of the most powerful tools in the game, if not the most powerful. But I think there's definitely places in endgame you need to put the med kit away, grab the smoke. It doesn't need to be mounted on your gun, obviously, but you want to have it. And like I said, if you're running with a squad of buddies, make sure another guy is support with the ammo kit. Even if he doesn't like the support guns, grab the AS Val or something like that, so he can constantly be feeding you smoke canisters, because you're going to need a lot. These maps are wide open, and they're sniper-friendly, sniper havens, and between the air power, the tanks, the snipers, sometimes you can't even get out of spawn. And I'm talking about, the flats, and then I'm also talking about the railroad. It's like those first two MCOMs are just a nightmare. And if you don't have somebody consistently putting down smoke, as you're seeing me in this game, I kind of do. I struggle as far as other things, but I do a good job of smoking them out. and allowing us to get ahead. And you see I kind of lead the rush with the smoke, and that's what I'm talking about here. You kind of got to, you know, KD be damned, go out there and do the right thing, do what your team needs to do, and hey, I got no problem being an unsung hero. Use that smoke it up. And like I said, you're not going to ever really have enough, even with the perk to give you more canisters, to really do an effective job. And that's one of my biggest gripes, is that, you know, 4 canisters really isn't enough. There's just so much open space, and you got to use it wisely. Don't put it out in the middle of the field where you're running through it and you're blinded. Put it just in front of their positions, and you'll learn where these places are as best you can, so that they're blinded and you have an open view of the terrain you need to cross, and just get across that terrain as quickly as possible. If you can do that effectively, you're not only going to help yourself, obviously, you're going to help your team. And as long as you can do that, you can keep them blind. And if they're blind, they're on, you know, they're on their heels. They're never going to be able to really kind of dig in. And once we know on these maps, once a defender's dug in, especially once the snipers have their little spawn beacons and they're, you know, they're laying prone, they're going to cause havoc for you guys crossing these fields. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about, this one's a little tip. I'm not sure how well this works, but it's something I'm going to be trying out. Is I feel like the value of the flak jacket perk has kind of gone up. There's so much ancillary explosions, and be it grenades, be it rockets, air fire, you know, with the rockets. I just feel like that it's not one I used to use very often, but now I'm thinking of kind of pushing it up a little higher on the hierarchy to make sure, you know, like it wouldn't be ahead of, say, cover and ammo for me. Those are the top 2 perks I like to use. So if I'm in a squad, even if it's just random public guys that I'm not talking to, you know, I look at what perks they're running, and if somebody's not running ammo, I run it. If somebody's not running cover, I run it. You know, we get down to 3rd or 4th perk in a squad. It's kind of debatable. I mean, you could go sprint, which you think would be a good fit here because of the open expanses, but at the same time, you can almost just as easily jump on a motorcycle and get sprint in that effect. So I would, you know, I like having the 2 frags. That's, you know, that's more of a luxury perk, but I really like having it. I think it really helps my game quite a bit. And, you know, there's other ones. It's just kind of, obviously, if you're running an engineer, you're going to want the extra rocket. So, you know, the 3rd and 4th perk in a squad is usually debatable, and that's where I might slot in flak, just because I just feel like, especially if I'm outside, and I have a mental image right here of the flats where I'm running around the warehouses, and it feels sometimes like as soon as I stick my head out the door, of any door, frankly, it's like either I'm taking a sniper upside my head or I'm getting rocket fire. It's just coming down on me, and I feel like having that little bit extra protection might help me out. Might make me survive a little longer, even if it just means I get to run back into that door. But there's just 2 like things that I'm working on, things that I'm looking at. You're gonna see me now as I post videos of endgame, because I'm gonna continue to play it and post it, where you're gonna see a lot more usage of smoke and possibly flak jacket, that type of thing. Because you just need to think outside the box a little. Things change, even if they don't patch and they don't change, you know, the balancing of things. Some things become more useful. Other things are kind of like, well, not really needed here, you know. So, you know, sometimes they give us enough tools within the game to improve ourselves. Sometimes they don't. I'm not saying, you know, that first MCOM at Nabadan Flats isn't going to be hard. It isn't going to be incredibly frustrating, and you're going to not curse dice and be like, what were you thinking here? But there's ways to make it more manageable, and there's ways to accomplish. We just have to think a little differently. Maybe try some different loadouts and things like that. And like I said, this is the part that I enjoy. I love new DLC and new patches because of the fact that it's almost is like a new game, and that's what people yell and scream about. It's like a new game every 2 months. Well, yeah, I love that. You know, if they didn't do that, this game would be so incredibly stale. So I applaud patching. I mean, it's kind of comical how many huge patches they've had to put out as far as rebalancing. I mean, a year later, you figure they would have had it dialed in. But I welcome it as a player because it enables me to learn. I know I'm one of the people that dedicate myself the most to this game and learn quickly, so I quickly get ahead of the curve there. It hasn't been the case in Endgame, which unfortunately kind of stinks, but typically I learn quicker and think like that. I don't just go out and play the same way I've always been playing, so I usually find myself ahead of the curve, and I can take advantage of that tactically. So let me know what you guys think. Is there anything out there that you're doing now that maybe you weren't doing 2 weeks ago more, i.e. like smoke? Maybe you're changing up your perks, you know, something like maybe you're playing NG more, because I know I am, that's for sure. Let me hear it, because I'd love to hear the tips, and if enough good ones come in, I'll make another video to share it with everybody. So once again, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. It really helps me out, and I'll talk to you soon, guys. Take care.
Just a reminder, guys, don't miss any of my content. Clicking the big screen in the middle, that's going to take you to the Battlefield 3 playlist where you'll find a lot of videos similar to the one you just watched. The video to the lower left-hand side, that's my Let's Play channel. Over there I post all kinds of Let's Plays and walkthroughs, Minecraft, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, all kinds of different games that don't fit into the first-person shooter genre. And to the lower right, make sure you do not miss the Company 008 community channel. You're going to find a lot of directors over there that post similar content to mine, so if you like my stuff, you're probably going to like theirs too. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a nice day.